It's the Jack and Nick Horror Show.
You know, the one thing that the people don't know, Nick. No, Nick.
No, Nick.
You know, Nick. Whenever I
That's great.
disagree with you, I'll call you No, Nick.
Awesome.
You know what people don't know, Nick?
What's that?
Can't stop laughing at that name. I record this in a little loft, which you have seen, and I do it without the air conditioner running.
Really?
Yeah, because if the air conditioner runs, you'll hear very loud noise in the background, which will make us sound like complete amateurs. We still sound like amateurs, but we would sound
Very
like
much so.
complete amateurs. And almost every time, except for the winter time, I am like without clothing. I just want you to know that.
Oh, no.
No, just kidding. I'm not. I'm in shorts and a t-shirt. But I don't wear shorts. I don't go out in public in shorts. So that's dressing down for me.
Really?
And my dog is sitting behind me and farting like a fart machine. And it's,
So that's gross.
yeah, it is, and it's hot, and I'm sweaty, and so if you hear, listener, if you hear the occasional this here, that's me drinking water because I'm fucking hot in this room. Anyway, Nick.
You know, we've been podcasting for like 7 years this week. This is as professional as we're going to get, I guess, right?
That's my tribute to Burt Reynolds. That's it. Oh my God, 7 years of my life down the drain.
Remember how happy we were in the beginning and how hopeful we were?
Oh, we were. And then people took advantage of you and I.
And we were funny. I don't know what happened there. Like,
we were. And then
I'm thinking more and more like, oh my God, I am so much less funny than I used to be. I don't know if it's because I got soft. Because I had a...
I mean, do you mean it got soft as in like weight and like you're doughy?
Like doughy? Yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of it. But also it's like, you know, I just don't go for the jugular anymore.
I mean, I may, but people don't like my fucking jokes. So therefore, they must suffer.
Yeah, they're suffering, all right. So anyway, happy 7 years of doing this. Our very first episode, no one has ever heard. We actually did the Night of the Living Dead, which maybe we'll do again someday because it's such a great movie.
Yes, that's true.
We'll do the remake to really...
That was a test episode
timeline
that we never released.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
So, here we are.
You know what? It's a party. And that's the movie of the week. Murder Party.
Right. We're just having a lot less murder at our party.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, right. It's not over. A couple of years left. I can't wait till 2019 when we do our top 10 of the decade. That's all I want to talk about.
Oh,
I know.
I'm waiting. I'm taking every day in as a full day now.
And dude, it really is like, even this year, there are so many movies that I want to talk about as the best of for the year, and I haven't even seen some of the most anticipated movies of the year yet, like Mandy and Halloween and some other most anticipated horror movies that might be good. That movie Apostle. It's coming out on Netflix, and it's from Gareth Evans, who made The Raid. That looks kick-ass.
And it's got Dan Stevens in it too, from The Guest. And I always call it Downtown Abbey, but it's
Downtown Abbey.
Welcome to Downtown Abbey, ladies and gentlemen. See, that's us being funny. So sorry for the joke.
I got a segue. Yes. So, speaking of movies on Netflix, recently added to Netflix was a movie from the last decade called Murder Party.
I thought it was on Shudder.
Anybody can go and watch. No, it's on Netflix.
Oh,
Netflix. Yep, which everybody has. So go watch it.
It's also on Shudder.
Oh, it's also on. Well, all right. It's in a couple of places. Go watch it and come back and listen to Jack and Nick talk about it right here.
It's also on my DVD shelf. So if you want to come over and watch it, well, we have to watch it in the hot room without the air conditioner.
Really?
Yeah.
You got like a movie theater in your house.
I know, but I just want people to suffer like I do for the
Nice.
show. So listeners have to watch the movie up here, and if they pass that, then they get to cool off in the theater room.
So movie.
Oh yeah, and we're
Of the
gonna
week.
catch up and stuff.
Oh yeah, after that. So stick around
Yeah, it's
because
gonna
we
be a
never
long
shut up.
episode.
We
Long
never
episode.
shut up.
We never do.
We're gonna shut up now.
We're probably gonna talk more after this break and after the show is over.
Bye. No.
Good night.
No, goodbye.
Thank you for listening.
Stick around.
Murder Party 2007, 1 hour, 19 minutes, comedy, drama, horror. Directed by Jeremy Saulnier. Starring Macon Blair, Stacy Rock, the Puff Snooty. What's the other guy? The one that they really like on the commentary. I can't remember his name. But it's got people in it.
Macon.
Well, Macon Blair is like he's a pretty big deal now. We'll talk about him.
Well, I think he's a minor deal, but he's a big deal to people like us.
Yeah, he's a big and he's going to be he's in a PSVR game made by the one and only Elijah Wood, his little studio. Okay, here we go. A random invitation to a Halloween party leads a man into the hands of a rogue collective intent on murdering him for the sake of their art, sparking a bloodbath of mishap, mayhem, and hilarity. Nick.
Yeah.
Tell me about your thoughts on Murder Party.
Oh, yeah. So you've already seen this movie previously because you own it.
True.
I only just saw it right here on Netflix the other day, and I really enjoyed the crap out of it. I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, there's so much stuff on Netflix that when you actually, like, find something you enjoy, it's, like, startling. And this movie was just great. I was so happy that I watched it. And it's only like an hour and a half long, but it feels like 20 minutes of fun. And it's so fun. I mean, you know, just to describe it a little in a way that doesn't spoil it, a dude finds a little invitation on the ground that says, "Come to the murder party," and he's a fucking loser. And it's Halloween night, and he has nothing else to do, so he makes a costume out of cardboard boxes, and he's like a knight, probably his Dungeons and Dragons character, and he goes to this party full of like art weirdos who are going to kill him for an art project, basically. That's as much of the plot as you need to know. And it is very unpredictable, very funny. I really enjoyed the crap out of it. I mean, it felt so original and fresh. I mean, the movie's 9 years old, but it's not been like replicated a whole lot. And I feel like this movie is the type of movie that all independent movies aspire to be. Mm-hmm. And it's just really good. I really enjoyed it. Jack?
I completely agree. Yes, there's one thing about like there's popular movies that people like myself just can't stand because they got that popular shine. There are popular movies I love that are actually good movies and enjoyable and entertaining, or just trashy fun. Mm-hmm. But then there's those big budget movies that are just so god awful and paint by the numbers, and you're like, and then it's over, and then it's McDonald's fries when you leave. So the same goes for independent movies for me, where they feel so fucking indie. Like, they're trying their damnedest to appeal to a very small group of assholes with fucking neckbeards and ski caps and just jackets in 78,000 degree weather or whatever. They are just appeasing 5 people, and they think that's art or whatever the fuck, and it sucks. We've talked about that before, that the whole Jack and Diane shit or whatever. And a lot of horror movies, horror independent movies, are they complain about the popular big name studios and Hollywood this sucks and Hollywood that sucks. But actually, Hollywood's been taking more fucking risks than independent filmmakers. And the cool thing is that Jeremy Saulnier, this is his first feature, who's gone on to like Blue Ruin and The Green Room, they're both fucking great movies.
Absolutely.
But
I love both those movies.
Yeah.
I actually like what do you call it more, Blue Ruin. And I mean Green Room is great too, but I love Blue Ruin. Very, very good.
I'm the opposite, but I mean it's to each their own, you know. I mean we did a Jeremy Saulnier episode. I think we did both Blue Ruin and Green Room on the show.
I think we did Green. Yeah, I think we did actually, but I can't remember.
I just know this because that's when I was living in Maryland, and I was sweating in that room too.
Amazing.
But
you've sweat in so many rooms across this country,
and it's so weird. But what I'm saying is that this movie is not indie pussy. Like it's not the independent movie that you just watch and you're like, man, I got so much rage in me with independent movies too. But like, it's not that. It's a movie with balls that says we're gonna give you a horror movie that's also a comedy, and we're gonna give you the comedy with the horror, and you're gonna see some blood, you're gonna see some gore, you're gonna see people get killed in funny ways, and you get it. Rather than we're gonna give you a horror show or a horror movie, but we'll just cut away when it gets to the blood stuff, and then it's like we're gonna show you people fucking, but then we're gonna just, cut it right when they take their clothes off and show you their bare back, not even their ass. You don't even get to see ass; you just get to see back, and you're like, oh, well, that's a ripoff, and then you just give up, go to Google, and type Pornhub. That's what, but like, I'm just being honest. This is what people do. Not saying I do it, but I do. But like, you know what I mean? But Murder Party, I'll get to that. Murder Party is so much fun. And it feels like, Nick, like you said, it feels like a Saturday Night Live sketch branched out for like an hour and 10 minutes, but it doesn't feel like it wears out its welcome. It's just continuously progressive, and there's a bunch of twists, and then it has a extremely violent finale.
Oh, absolutely, man.
And like it just gets more and more violent as the movie progresses. It's kind of like the same build as Reanimator in a sense, where it progressively gets more and more bloody and gory, where intestines are attacking people. Like,
yeah, that's actually a great I mean, it's a great comparison in terms of how the intensity goes, like starts normal and goes completely off the rails in ways you could not have predicted when you started watching the movie.
Even like Evil Dead, the first one, the original, same shit. Boring, 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 gore. Boring, 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 gore. Movies, I love Evil Dead more than anything, don't get me wrong. But it's not like continuous Evil Dead 2 shit. And then the end of the movie is the Evil Dead 2 shit that you really love. That's what this movie is. It's like, it gives you, comedy, attempt to comedy, comedy, attempt to comedy, gore. Comedy, and then it just hits you over the head. And it really feels like a downbeat ending, but it's kind of a great ending too.
Oh yeah.
Macon Blair though is, I think, the shining star of this whole movie. Because
now he's the star of Blue Ruin, and in Green Room he's the Nazi bartender who earns his red strings. If you've seen that movie,
he's the chubby Tom Lennon and Joe Latrulia.
Yeah, he really does look like those two people
combined.
Most people who don't even know who those are. But yes, and in this movie he's just, he's awesome. I mean, there's so many weird quirks to all the characters in this movie that first off, every character in this movie is like a Dumb and Dumber idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Completely stupid. And I felt like that alone made this movie like even more fun. Because like Murder Party, all the people invited are idiots. The hero is an idiot. And they're just there's like every person introduced is just a complete idiot. And
They're
I
like,
feel
they're like us.
no, I feel like way more than us. Just like really stupid. And I mean, like it reminded me of like, you know, like Naked Gun, but not as like absurdist as Naked Gun. But I mean, like in the way that the characters interact with each other and do weird things and do just stupid things.
And it's
It's
snappy.
so funny.
It's very snappy.
Right.
Like it doesn't just drone on for and it feels like it could. Like there's most of the movie takes place in one place, and normally those kind of movies are very freaking boring. And it's like 5 strangers in a room. One of them's a killer. Let's wait for an hour and a half to figure it out.
Right.
And then it's like, who is it? Is it this one? Is it that one? And then eventually you're just, I don't give a shit. Just everybody die and get over. This one here, I'm not going to say if everybody dies or not, but
it ramps up.
it ramps up. Yep.
It ramps up from little stuff to the big stuff pretty quick at the end. And it goes like way insane. And like the people who are doing the killing and dying, it's not happening in ways that you could possibly have predicted. And I think that that's brilliant. It gets super gory at times. God, man.
And somebody's face gets completely
Obliterated.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say who, but you'll see. There's so much in here. Like, if you haven't seen Murder Party, just watch it. Like, the perfect time to watch it, I think, is any time. Like, whatever time you feel like. Late at night, early afternoon, it's just one of those kind of movies. So you just watch it. It's a Halloween movie, too, so you can watch it during the upcoming season.
Exactly. Like, man, it is Halloween time. And for spookies like us, this is the time. This is the only time you're going to have to be you. And you know what? This is the perfect movie to roll out like something that most people have not ever heard of. And for it to just be like something completely out of the blue that you can go and watch right now with all your buddies. Like, this is a movie that I can totally recommend to any person. You know you're getting in the mood. You want to buy all the shit with pumpkins on it at Target. You want to have your pumpkin pie early and your pumpkin spices and everything. You're that type of person because you're listening to this show. It's not an accident. It's not an accident. And
drink pumpkin spice water right now.
Right. See?
No, I'm not.
Is that possible?
It can be, but it's fucking disgusting. Hey, you and I, though, we have this weird kismet thing. Not that we kissed or anything like that, but we have this thing that we're both thinking of the same shit at the same time, and we both text each other. Prime example.
Oh, yeah.
Tonight, before we started recording, Nick said, I'm getting on Skype, as I had the phone in my hand to type the same exact thing. That happens all the time with us. Now, the funny thing is, the other day I'm on the, I'm sitting down on something, and normally that's where I bring up IMDb, and I'm like, I'm going to do some research on whatever the fuck. And lo and behold, I just, you get into the rabbit hole of IMDb sometimes, and I was like, there's Jeremy Saulnier, let's see what he's up to. And I nearly shit myself when I found out that he is directing the next series of True Detective. And I'm like, that's a perfect fit.
Wow.
Yes, that makes sense. He's the guy that would make a great True Detective show. I, for one, have not seen True Detective. I've heard people that have seen the first season love it and the second season hate it. But
that's me.
But this dude making a True Detective series, it's like he's got some movie coming out to Netflix first, which is like a 2-hour thriller or something. but then True Detective. So that's really great. I mean, that's going to be a huge stepping stone for him because, Cary Fukunawa, or that guy, he was supposed to do it, but now the guy's doing James Bond,
Mm-hmm.
So I am so happy for this guy because, he really worked his way up. Started with this, got all the way up to Green Room, and Green Room wasn't like blazing the box office apart or anything like that, but it's a really good movie, and people that have seen it really like it. So obviously, people at HBO know talent when they see it. But yeah, Macon Blair, he's a writer director now himself. He made the movie with speaking of Elijah Wood, the one that was on Netflix, the I Don't Want to Live Here Alive, or I can't remember the name of the. It's like a sentence. What is the one with the what's her name from My Two Dads or Two and a Half Men, whatever the hell it is.
Can we just look it up instead of guessing?
Well, it just goes to show you we're not sitting here.
Macon Blair.
Macon Blair.
IMDb.
Blake and Mayer.
He's the man who directed.
It's a fucking real long title.
Is it? I don't. Wait.
Yeah, I don't feel at home in this world anymore.
Dude, I'm doing the exact thing I just chastised you for. And I fucking love that movie too.
Yeah.
And I should have known that he directed it because that movie is totally great. It's a Netflix original, in fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel at home in this world anymore.
He's got an
totally worthwhile.
Upcoming project is a movie based on Us. It's called The Shitheads.
Oh. Hi, everybody. This is the Shitheads Horror Show with Shithead Jack and Shithead Nick.
Tonight, we're going to be very corny. And see, this is why we don't...
This is why nobody likes you.
This is why we don't joke.
Right.
Fucking terrible jokes. But I don't care. I don't fucking care. I'm all over the microphone. Go start your own fucking podcast, you fucking
You're
babies.
old.
I'm old.
You ain't got much time to live. Just be nice to them, people.
I guess I'm the Chevy Chase of podcasts. He's so difficult to get along with. Yeah, okay. No, I don't put up with horseshit. Okay, so Nick.
Yeah, hi.
You recommend this movie, right?
Oh, absolutely. Total fun time. I would recommend it to any horror fan. I think it's totally fun and worthwhile, and you should you should get watching it, people.
One
no
of these
excuses.
days, we will cover a movie in depth to the point of, like, you'll never want to fucking watch it again. But I like this format as it stands, by the way. Where it's like...
you mean you don't want to spoil it?
I don't want to spoil the movie, no, because I think the one issue with a lot of shows, and I'm not going on too much of a tangent, is that a lot of podcasts, they just ruin the whole goddamn movie for you. And then you just don't want to watch it. You're like, do I want to watch this? They just told me everything. It's cool to watch or listen after you see the movie, but, there's a lot of movies to watch out there. So, and this is not the 80s or 90s anymore. Oh, speaking of, Nick, how about that'll be a good segue. You ready for this?
We're going to segue?
We're going to segue. Here we go. You ready for this?
Okay.
All right. And
ready.
Trust me, I don't get excited about segues. Like most people are like, oh, that's a segue. No, don't care. Okay. So, you know how you, Nick, I'm not going to say your last name. It's Smith.
We'll just make that lore from now on.
Nick Smith. You know how you, Nick, don't like, or you're groaning and getting tired of filmmakers making the 80s throwback movies.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I figured out the problem where you're starting to get, like, things come in waves. The next thing is going to be the 90s, because every day, it's just going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen the new trailer for Jonah Hill's new movie, Mid-90s?
Yeah. Well,
that is just like 90s nostalgia, the movie?
Yep. And,
okay, continue.
it'll catch, and then people branch onto that, and then the 80s will be like, oh, fuck the 80s, man. That's grandpa. That's grandpa era.
Right.
That's all bullshit. The 90s was the shit. And then it's like, wait a minute. The 90s suck. No. Anyway, okay. So here's the problem with the filmmakers that are making 80s movies, 80s aesthetic movies, or throwback movies, where they're like, we're making an 80s slasher, but it's 2018. And then they make it, and they're like 19 or 20 years old. They've never lived in the 80s. And they're like, okay, well, like, I saw, like, the Fridays, and, like, this obscure movie called The Prowler, and, like, we're gonna make a movie that's an ode to those movies, because they're, like, fucking cool, man. And then they make it, and it's nothing like those movies at all, And not that you're not going to be able to capture that magic. You're just not going to be able to do it. It's not going to happen. I know why. You see, in the 80s, the filmmakers grew up watching movies from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. The 50s is the time during the 80s that they were like, we're going to make movies with the 50s heart and, fire, and put it into these 80s movies that we're making currently. The filmmakers now are watching 80s movies and saying, we're not going to make movies for 2018. No. We're going to retry to do the 80s again in 2018. There's the problem. What they need to do is watch the movies from the 30s through the 50s like the filmmakers from the 80s did, because that's the mindset they went into those movies, because the movies that you all now love from the 80s didn't exist because they were fucking making them. You understand that? So you're copying a carbon copy of a carbon copy. That's why it's not working out. Not saying all of them suck. There are some great ones, and, Astron 6 are freaking great, but they can't even make minimum wage with their movies. Like, it just doesn't work out that way. Like, that's what sucks. Like, money is a key factor in people doing movies, and with, piracy, etc. But what do you think of that, Nick?
I think you're right to some degree, because, like, my new favorite word when it comes to filmmaking that I'm about to use a lot in the next movie we're going to talk about during catch-up is intertextuality. Intertextuality is when something exists in a film only because it exists as a reference to something in another film. Like, there's no context provided for this thing. You have to have seen the other movie to understand the context of this thing, and sometimes when it's done poorly, it's kind of obvious and jarring for anyone who's not really familiar with the originals and stuff, or it's like a big blast of nostalgia for the people who are familiar with it. And when it's done like then it kind of confuses people that haven't seen it. The better way to use intertextuality is have something that's a reference to people that know what they're looking at, and have it not be a jarring weird thing for people to say for no reason. Right. In a movie, like, okay, I saw The Predator, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. I saw the new Predator, and I loved it. And one of the things it does really well is intertextuality, where there's a phrase in the movie where there's a helicopter and they have to get to the helicopter, and they say, quick, get to the chopper, so that if you've seen the original Predator, you go, ha ha. And if you haven't seen the original Predator, you don't go, why did he say this random thing that makes no it made sense. He's getting to a chopper. You know what I mean? Right.
They didn't say it like Arnold did, where they go, out of character, get to the chopper! And then people were like, what is that? And then, look at the camera and wink and put your thumb up. No.
A perfect example using Arnold, okay? Let's say the first Terminator movie, you're a kid. You're young. You're new to this game. The first Terminator movie you see is Terminator Part 4 Salvation. That's what it was called.
Oh, dear.
You know the part where they go and they see, like, they're like, stumble upon the Terminator facility, and there's like a CGI Arnold that attacks?
I didn't see that, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, this totally happened in that fucking movie. Spoiled the 9-year-old movie, 10-year-old movie. It's old. And dude, that scene makes zero sense to anyone who's not seen the other Terminators.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing where in the new Star Wars movie, and I think that this is the perfect example of intertextuality, where there's the part, in fact it's not the new one, it's the one from a couple of years ago, Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
There's the part where they're like fighting on the desert planet, and then Rey is like, quick, run to that big junky ship, and then camera pans off and it shows the Millennium Falcon in the distance, and it makes a fanfare like banana. Now if you're a kid, and trust me, there are a lot of kids that are going to see that as their first Star Wars movie because they're getting dragged by their parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you see that, wouldn't you be like, what's so special about that junk?
Correct.
You know?
Yeah.
That's a terrible piece of intertextual filmmaking where it's like totally referential. Like you're making, like, especially when you're making something like The Force Awakens that's a reboot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that foreknowledge that makes that make sense. And you find this in horror movies all over the place.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Poorly done, where it's like they're just pulling stuff out of their ass that's like, why make a reference to that movie that like nobody might not understand, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Make a reference to things in ways that are very smart, you know? Like, okay, here's an Easter egg in the new Predator movie. It's an Easter egg. You can watch the Predator movie and point it out to your girlfriend like you're the smartest person there. There's a part that takes place at a high school or a middle school, and it's called the Lawrence A. Gordon Middle School, or Lawrence Gordon, whatever. And then it says Home of the Warriors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Lawrence Gordon was this producer and filmmaker in the 1970s, heavily involved with the Warriors or associated, you know? And it's like a thing that like you see and it makes you go, Lawrence Gordon, and it's not something that like is going to like take you out of the movie. It's
right.
just the name of a high school.
It's not like else? Wes Craven's middle school.
Right.
The Freddy Krueger's.
Right. You know, the stuff that's like just over the top.
Yep.
And I think that it's one thing that horror people get wrong all the time. And with regard to what you're talking about, the intertextuality that people put in are these references to 80s movies, but without purpose, you know? Right. And it happens a lot. And it's not always happening. It's not always happening in weird ways that make no sense at all. But there are these intertextual situations that make zero sense if you haven't seen and already enjoyed the original. Mm-hmm. And it's like, is that good? You know? And granted, I feel like a few years ago we'd be like, yes, it's great. You can watch that and blah, blah, blah. But I feel like the more I see it and the more I see it done poorly, the more I think that it's not so great, you know?
Well, I think a lot of people are just now discovering a lot of movies from the 80s. They're just discovering them, and that's why there's so much joy and like, oh my God, this is the greatest movie ever, because they just discovered it, which is fine. I ain't knocking at it. It's like that's cool that people actually give a shit to go back to the well and see what they might have missed. You know, right. I still do that from time to time. We'll talk about that
Obviously,
later.
we just did that with Murder Party.
Murder Party! Having a party. But like,
have some fun.
Here's some punch. But like, like, all right, here's my example that I just came up with. Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. When Tom McLaughlin was making that movie, he wasn't making it saying, I want to make a Friday the 13th movie based on the previous Friday the 13th movies. What he was doing was making a Jason movie based on Frankenstein's monster and all the Universal horror movies that he grew up watching. That's what he was doing. And you don't see, like, Jason acting like Frankenstein. No, you don't see any of that. There's no, like, hey, remember this? You know? It's not like that that movie with Linda Blair, Grotesque, and I'm going to spoil it. They throw every. This was like the 1950s guy who said 1980s horror movies suck. And here, I'm going to give you a hodgepodge of every horror movie that you're now watching, including like Rape Revenge and like, Mongoloid in the House and all this other stuff. And then at the very end, we're going to say, okay, that was a movie. And then you have Werewolf and somebody else in the projection booth going, movies when we were monsters were so much better. Like, that was a movie where I wanted to climb on the screen and take a massive poop on it, but I didn't. I couldn't, because then I'd ruin my TV. But the movies of like these days are just, there are some great ones and there's some bad ones, and I think that most people are just able to make film, and that's fine. Make whatever you want, but don't tell me it's an 80s movie. It's like, guys, this is 2018. You're not gonna have anything to fall back on. It's just going to be replicants of shitty movies from the 80s. And then people are just going to forget most of the shit that comes out now. It's just going to, they're going to talk about it and say, hey, remember that time when everybody thought they were a filmmaker? I mean, shit, I fell into the trope myself, man. I fucking made a movie. I tried to fucking distribute it. That story's old as shit. But, like, the thing was that my idea was not, hey, let's have Jason and there's like nods to it, but like a generic version making fun of everything, because it's like, I'm making fun of myself, basically. That's what I did. But like, I don't know, man. It's just, there's so many people that are like, they're 20 years old making a movie from the 80s that they were never part of. And it's like me saying, you know what, I'm going to make a 50s movie tonight. I'm going to write a 50s movie. And then my dad will be like, motherfucker, you didn't live in the 50s. What is this shit? We didn't talk like that. I'm seeing that a lot, but anyway, I'll shut the fuck up. I'm so sorry, people.
So if you made a movie today, do you think you would have done differently than you did when you made a movie in 2008?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it would be... There'd be a lot more gore and nudity, that's for sure. There's a lot of stuff that I couldn't do because of budget. I mean, there was stuff that I wanted to do. Here's something that hasn't been done in a movie as far as I know, maybe it has, where a killer kills somebody and treats them like a puppet, where he puts their hand in their back and uses their mouth as a puppet.
It's probably been done.
Probably. Maybe it...
Probably.
Wait, it was that goddamn puppet movie that Juan did. The Dead Alive, or what the fuck was it?
Oh, yeah. Dead Silence.
Dead Silence. I just spoiled that.
Juan beat you to it. Juan got there first.
One ton of mirror. One ton of fan mail. But like, no, it was like a victim, and then he's like, oh, look at me. I'm, like, whatever. But who gives a shit? I didn't do it, and because it was a bad idea. Anyway, so yes, I would make something completely different. And something completely different may be happening in the pipeline. Who knows? And all those people that don't talk to me anymore, Nick, they're going to start talking to me. And I'm going to ignore them. And I'm going to say, there goes Jack again. He's too big. But I'm not. I'm a fucking loser who sits in a fucking loft without an air conditioner in my goddamn shorts. And my dog is on the floor now because he's dying of heat. And he's farting. Oh, he's farting.
Talking about other people's horror movies.
It's a horror movie in here. It's a stinky one. All right, let's catch up and rant some more and complain and stuff. Now, see what you did, Nick? You opened up the fucking door. Now we're doing this, reverting back to trying to be funny. But I'm not. I'm just being honest. Yeah. That's why we got the show, I guess.
I guess. I don't know. People listen.
People listen. People like. I don't know why you like us. I hate myself.
I know. It's like every day I wake up and I just want to die. But maybe we should edit that part out. I don't want people to think anything weird.
I lay down and I put a pillow over my head to suffocate myself, and I get pissed off when I wake up. I'm just kidding. I really do put a pillow over my head. I put a pillow over my head. My dad used to do that because he was covering up his toupee. But like,
What the fuck?
he never told us that he had a toupee. I know, I'm breaking down the fucking wall here, people. But like, I do it because of, like, I have very sensitive ears. Like, I can't hear that well, especially out of my right side. But I'm like a dog. I hear the dumbest fucking noise, and it's always one of the dogs. Well, the one dog now, or one of the cats. But the cats now are like, "Hey, man." They come in like Dave Chappelle, like, got any more of that cat food? Like, they tap me and shit. I'm like, get the fuck out. I throw them out, close the doors, and then lay down, put a pillow on my head, and then my sinuses act up, and I gotta feed them anyway. Anyway, this is boring to you, so we're gonna go on and catch up with 80s and 90s movies.
Yes, the 80s and 90s movies that you just derided.
I'm not dude. I'm not knocking them down. I'm saying that filmmakers making movies that are supposed to be based on the 80s should watch 50s movies to aspire to make a movie based in the 80s. Just like if you take case in point, Joe Dante, the guy. He wrote a letter to what's his name at Famous Monsters, and then became a writer and then an editor for Roger Corman, and worked his way up and became the director of Gremlins, the greatest movie ever made, as well as Ghostbusters and a bunch of other ones. But his idea, look at Gremlins. That's the perfect example. Look at Gremlins. That is a 50s movie in the 80s. True or false?
I think it has a lot of the 50s and 80s crossover stuff.
It feels like
you see a lot of
Back to the Future, but with Gremlins. You know what I mean? It's the same town, I know, but like, you know.
Well, that's true.
But like, that's really cool. You know, It's a Wonderful Life. But like, it feels like a 50s movie, but it's done in the 80s, and it's like, it's perfect. It's the perfect movie. That's what you should be aspiring to do.
It is perfect. I can't ever dispute that.
Imagine Gremlins, but like with a slasher instead of Gremlins. Like, that would be freaking great. It would be so cool. But nobody's okay. They see somebody just heard that now. They're oh, that's a great idea. We're gonna do Gremlins, okay? But like with a slasher,
right?
We're not gonna get funding.
Copyright Jack and Nick Horror Show.
LLC.
Right, LLC. We're an LLC now.
Yeah, why not? Limited liability. Fuck it. Anyway, ketchup, mustard, relish, whatever.
Right.
We talked a lot during that break, Nick.
Yeah, I know. The break was almost as long as the first part of this episode.
First part of the episode, oh my gosh.
So tell me a fucking movie that you saw that you enjoyed recently, and here's the twist. It's got to be a horror movie on our horror show.
Okay. So Brewster's Millions, right? Like when Montgomery Brewster says, "Don't vote for us. We're assholes." That's what I feel like whenever I degrade us.
It's okay. Anyway,
I'm Monty Brewster. So I watched Extro 2, 1990. Extro 2.
So what is Extro?
Extro? Did you ever see Extro? No.
No, I don't know what it is at all.
Okay, the first Extro is probably a movie that is going to be possibly, not going to say it is, one of your all-time favorite movies that you never got to see. Kind of like Murder Party. That's a movie I haven't seen. Extro is a guy, he comes back from space different, and he might be an alien. That's the basic plot of it. But then there's like well, let's just say birthing of a human, clown, little person.
What?
You kind of have to watch Extra, Nick. I don't want to spoil it. It's really fucking awesome movie. Yeah, definitely check out Extra. Now, Extra 2 has nothing to do with Extra. It's just name only. And the star of Extra 2 is, what's his name? Jan Michael Vincent. And, oh my gosh. You know how, like, those movies that they say, like, the name, like, what's a deadly, the movie we watched with the He-Man guy. Deadly Prey. Remember Deadly Prey when it's like,
yes.
Danton?
Danton.
Danton? Everything was Danton. So this one, Jan Michael Vincent's character's name is Shepard, right? Which is not like a badass name. It's just like, you know. So they're like, who are we going to get? And the girl goes, I have an idea. Who? Shepard. And the guy goes, Shepard. And she's like, Shepard. Yes, we're going to get Shepard. And I'm like,
this is the best part of the movie.
It is the best part of the movie. It's in the beginning. So just watch up the Shepard and then stop it. Because it's basically Alien ripoff where an alien gets on board of it's the same shit as Alien, but it's really bad. It's not really that enjoyable. It's watchable, but it's like, why are you doing Extra 2? It's like, well, not many people on shows talk about Extra 2. So there you have it. That's why.
So I've never heard of that movie in my life. So you did. You broke down the barriers this week.
Dude, you got to watch Extra and report back. We might do a show on Extra. Stay tuned. It'll be The Devil's Business and Extra.
So a movie we should also do a show on, and I just said I saw, I'll say it again, I saw The Predator in theaters, and I totally enjoyed the crap out of it. I do not understand a lot of the negative criticism I've seen, especially on Twitter. I'm very disappointed in my Twitter followers who hate this movie for no reason. People who have said it's trash from beginning to end. What? Like, what?
Did they see Predator 2?
Dude, did they see Predator 3? Did they see Alien versus Predator? Like,
Did they see Predator?
Easily the second best Predator movie.
Yeah. The first Predator it's junk. It's a junk movie. It's a great junk movie.
I love the first Predator.
Right.
No. Can't talk bad about the first Predator.
No. I'm not talking bad, but it's not like one to be taken seriously.
Yeah, that's what I don't get about it. It's the same thing with like when people say that like the Rob Zombie Halloweens are the worst Halloweens. It's like, did you see part 6?
No,
did you really?
No, they forgot about that. Yeah.
Did you see the one with Buster?
No, they forgot about that. Too.
Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah. So this movie was excellent. It's excellent all around, and I don't want to like spoil too much of it because I know you haven't seen it. But the premise of the story is a predator shows up on Earth, but he's being hunted by the ultimate predator, which it's shown in the fucking trailer. I didn't spoil nothing, and I'm not telling you much more than that other than, okay, it's a Shane Black movie. And this is probably my favorite Shane Black movie because I don't like Shane Black movies. Who's Shane Black? What's he do? He takes movies and he kind of
makes them better.
He turns genre tropes on their head, and he's very hit or miss, if we're being honest. And if we're being Jack, he's excellent. That's what Jack would say.
He is.
But
I know that The Last Boy Scout I love, but I know that he didn't. He wrote The Last Boy Scout and got a lot of money for it until Joe Esterhaus came along and said, I'm so mad, motherfucker. And then he got more for Basic Instinct. But Shane, Last Boy Scout's a fun movie. I love it. But that's mostly not his script. Same with Long Kiss Goodnight. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is phenomenal. I still haven't seen it. Nice Guys. But Shane Black and Fred Dekker both wrote this movie you're talking about.
Yeah, he also made Iron Man 3. He directed that, and that movie sucks. And I don't care what anybody says. It's my least favorite of
really
the
like Iron
Marvel
Man 3.
movies. I know. Everybody really likes it. You know what? I hate it. I hate the twist with Mandarin. I think it's stupid bullshit. I think it's uncreative. I think it's doing to Marvel movies what DC does to DC movies, where like when they make a DC movie, they have to make like a character into a total joke, like or joke about what the character actually is, just to be like, haha, we're not that dorky comic book. No way, kids. You know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Justice League. They do it repeatedly. Like they make tons of jokes about like Aquaman talking to the fishes and shit. Anyway, I don't know what I was talking. Yeah,
You're
man.
About Predator.
Predator. Okay, so this movie totally works perfectly. Shane Black also was brought in to punch up the original Predator script and give it jokes and good lines, which clearly worked out because it's been 30 years and we're still saying them. So yeah, man, the new Predator. You know, one thing that you and I always complain about in horror movies is that the characters are just like completely disposable. Mm-hmm. I can tell you will love the characters that they created for this movie, because it is like an 80s movie, and I don't mean that in the way of, oh, it's an 80s throwback. No, what they did was they took movies like when we were kids and they gave a crew of characters their own idiosyncrasies, quirks, desires, and lives, instead of just like, this guy's named Maverick and this guy's named Tommy Cat. You know, it's like this guy has difficulties with these sorts of things, and he's best buddies with this guy who has this problem. You know, like stuff going on for these minor characters, and you suddenly are like, oh, I don't want to see any of these guys die. I want them to beat the Predator. You know, imagine that. Instead of just like a bunch of assholes. Like, how many times do we say in like modern slasher movies, and granted this was more of an action horror movie, but in modern slasher movies where like they just give you a bunch of people that you want to see die, and instead this movie, The Predator, gives you characters you'd like to see live. It gives you a Predator you'd like to see live. It gives you two Predators and some Predadogs.
That's a nonstop problem I hear with people when you know, when they make these the fucking movies where it's like, well, people want to see them die. It's like, no, they want to see them die in like part 7. You know, by the time you get to 7, that's when you can put all the annoying characters in there. But from like 1 to 4, maybe 5, you should actually give a shit about the characters.
Yeah.
Maybe 5. 5 is where you should start not giving a fuck about the characters.
Well, regardless, here in Predator 6, it's got good stuff, and it's got good references. Like I said, intertextuality, lots of references to the other Predator movies throughout that if you didn't know about, still play very well in this movie. You would still watch this movie and not have that jarring, but what was that effect whatsoever? Lots of Easter eggs, lots of fun for old Predator fans and new Predator fans and people who like gory, bloody movies and practical effects. Dude, this is what's so stupid. Like, a horror movie comes out in the year 2018 with practical effects and like gore and good characters, and it's funny. The audience I saw it with was laughing harder at this movie than I did, but they were enjoying themselves, and all this shit going on, and people are shitting on it.
That's because they're expecting what they thought The Last Jedi was going to be. That's why.
No, dude,
they think it's going to be one of the greatest movies ever made. It's a fucking movie about a predator killing people. That's it.
Right.
That's all it is.
It's fucking fun.
Yeah.
And that's all it needs to be. You know? Mm-hmm. Even like, all right, the original Predator, probably in my top 100 movies of all time. I love it. Probably, maybe even top 50.
You're going to be jealous.
What?
I got to see it opening night.
Wow.
In the theater.
Amazing.
With a sold-out crowd.
Yeah, but dude, like it's a good movie,
Yeah.
and like you can't just put it up on a pedestal and say just because we made a sequel to it, it is therefore shit because it does not rise to the original. Like you're nuts.
That's why I
It
like
doesn't have
Kong
to be
Skull
that.
Island.
I know. I was actually thinking when I left this movie, I was like, now I get why Jack liked Kong Skull.
That's exactly
Kong,
what happens in it.
that's hard to say. Kong Skull Island, the King Kong movie from last year.
Just say Kong Skull Island.
Kong Skull.
Island.
No, I was thinking back on that movie, and I was thinking this is what Jack liked about it. It's like you like that movie because it's like well shot, it's got good characters, it's got good ideas, it feels fresh, it's action packed, and just a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that movie because I can't watch any movie with a giant monkey. I have a disposition, but I can watch a movie with a giant predator. And it's fun, and you're going to love The Predator. So I totally recommend that movie to Jack and nobody else, because I don't need to hear your bitching, people. If you're just going to bitch about how it's not good, you're nuts. Stop. All right, here's what you do if you think that movie's bad. Okay, here's what you do. You're going to bend over so you could see between your legs, and you're going to see this stick coming out of your ass. Just give a good yank on that.
While you were ranting for like a split second, I had a great idea for a TV series.
Copyright Jack and Nick Horror Show LLC.
You ready for this? Get ready, listeners, because this is a doozy. Imagine a show called Pilot, where the entire show every week is a pilot that didn't get picked up. That's a great fucking idea. Come on. How many pilots are there? There's thousands upon thousands. The show can go on forever. It would be like
Didn't
the
Amazon
Simpsons.
do something like that?
Fuck
like
no,
they aired
Amazon.
they aired a bunch of pilots.
Bullshit pilot shows.
Yeah,
they're bullshit shows. They're fucking Zombieland stuff. No, I'm talking about like pilots of like weird science TV show that didn't work out, or like just shit like that, just random stuff. I think it would be real cool.
Out and ran for several years on the USA Network.
Who cares? But like the original Buffy pilot that they didn't keep the Willow character. And so there's a whole bunch of different cool ideas. I think listeners are gonna be like, you know what, Nick, Jack was right, or they're gonna be like, you know what, Jack hardly uses Twitter. Fuck him. Anyway, House 4. I watched House 4 for the first time. That's the fourth in the House series.
Yeah, I figured because of the number.
You know what's so fucking confusing about it? William Catt is in it as Roger Cobb, just like he was in House, except he's not Roger Cobb from the first House. He's another guy who's just married to this woman and they have a daughter, and he dies in the beginning.
Yeah.
And the movie is really not good. It's just not. It's not great. It's not terrible, but it's got some cool moments in it. You know what it has, though? Another trope that I hate in movies, which I never discussed on this show or any show for that matter.
This is brand new, a Jack and Nick original right here.
LLC. Here we go. Copyright the shit. The trope of the stupid, doofy mafia guys that have the fucking bullshit Italian accents, and they're slicked back hair, and they're dressed in trench coats, and they're just bumbling idiots. How many fucking and no offense to House 4, it's House 4, but like, how many movies have that trope? Like, you have the bad guy, and then his sidekicks are like these fucking, hey, yo, Tony, we're gonna kill this fucking guy. I'm gonna fucking kill him. I fucking
they
hate
all look
that.
like my dad.
But I hate that shit. It's like, they can't come up with an original killer. It's like, oh, well, the Italians, they're all mafia members, every one of them.
Oh, yeah.
So
in fact, the movie Jersey Shore Shark Attack has several characters that are exactly like what you're describing.
Yeah, but it's, you know what I mean? No, it's the, you know what it is? It's the boxers coming out of the pants because the pants are hanging low style that still hasn't fucking died since the 90s. That's It's that thing where it's like we haven't grown. We haven't moved away from things. It's the same shit. It's just a trope that I cannot stand. It's like these bullshit characters you're never going to see in life. But anyway, not to harp on them. But the movie's not that great. It has some neat little effects. Kane Hodder is a pizza man in it, like a pizza face. He's a pizza that talks. But
For real?
yeah, for real.
Wow.
All right, what else, Nick?
So I watched a movie on Shudder
Okay.
called Hell of the Living Dead, also known as Night of the Zombies, right?
Hell of the Living Dead. Bruno
Hell of the
Mattei.
Living Dead.
Bruno
What?
Mattei?
Yeah.
Yes. What'd you think?
So the description on IMDb is a tough female reporter and her cameraman boyfriend team up with a 4-man commando unit in the New Guinea jungle. Speaking of guineas, I'm Italian, I could say that. Who are fighting flesh-eating zombies.
How much fun was that movie?
Oh, man. So this movie's about like 18 movies all smushed together, right?
It's Bruno
I feel
Mattei,
like
yes.
they just started filming one thing and they were like, let's make a zombie movie. No, wait, you know what's cool? Cannibal movies. Let's do a cannibal movie. And then they were like, wait, what about the zombies? Oh, shit, throw a zombie over there. And let's have some sort of weird chemical accident over here. And then we're going to jump to a war movie. And then we're going to jump to actual archival footage of dead bodies amongst the tribes. And then my favorite part of the movie, the reporter is like watching like this weird stuff happening with the tribe. She thinks that some of them are living dead. And she's like, that does it. I'm going in. Tears open her shirt and like close up shot of her boobs. Mm-hmm. And then the next scene, she's like walking down the street naked except for leaves. And like she's got drawings on her that are supposed to be like tribal drawings. And she just walks up to the also naked tribesmen who nod and are like, oh, she's one of us, I guess. Because, you know, even though she's white and clearly not one of their tribe. And I mean, it's kind of like Cannibal Holocaust. Like they're using a real tribe here. Mm-hmm. Then she's like part of the tribe, but also there are zombies. And then this tribe is a cannibal tribe, and they're eating the dead guy. But then they all become the living dead, and then like everybody gets shot and killed by zombies. The movie ends. And I was like, what? What?
You know who else directed that?
Yes, I do, because it said it in the credits that the writer and apparently director was Claudio Fragasso.
Yes. Of Troll 2.
Speaking of guineas.
And Monster Dog. I fucking love that movie.
Man, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you know how many times in life, and it shouldn't happen this many times, where you watch a terrible movie and then it comes up at the end and you're watching the credits and it says Claudio Fragasso. It should not happen more than once. And yet it has happened to me at least 4 times.
Have you've seen Zombie 3, right? Which was Fulci, but he died.
Yes, I've seen Zombie 3 and Zombie 4.
Yeah, Zombie 4 is amazing. I fucking love Zombie 4. No, really. Like, I'm not being like a hipster guy. I really love Zombie 4. It's got blood, guts, and it's just perfect. It's I think his best movie. I really do. I fucking love it.
I don't remember.
I really fucking love it.
So, like, let's see what else he wrote. I'm just looking down IMDb. He wrote Monster Dog?
Yeah, and directed it.
Oh, my God. So that makes another one. Put that one on the list. And, yeah, of course, most famously, he's the guy who directed Troll 2 and really, really thought he made a masterpiece when he made Troll 2.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't know what, like maybe you're younger and you haven't seen Troll 2 yet.
No,
it's not a masterpiece.
Okay.
No.
Well, I mean, he wrote I Know the Other Hell, and there's a lot of movies that Severin is currently putting out, which is great. The one I haven't watched is Shocking Dark. and it's also known as Terminator 2. I'm serious. Yeah, I got that, but I haven't watched it yet. It's like I'm saving it because I got Zombie 4, the Blu-ray. Like I have 2 different discs of Zombie 4 because I love it so much. And then I got the Blu-ray, and I'm like, I'm gonna sit down and watch this. Dude, the Zombie 4 soundtrack, I love the sound. I pre-ordered Zombie 4 and 3 from or that and Shocking Dark from Severin because it came with the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack too. Cut and Run soundtrack is also really good. You should listen to the theme song of Cut and Run. That's Claudio Simonetti from Goblin. It's your type of song. But go ahead,
dude. I'm looking through the credits over here, and it's like, how now? Not only did I see this movie, I don't know how I saw this movie, and also I can't believe he also wrote this one, Women's Prison Massacre from 1983.
Yeah, that movie's fucking terrible. But
why have I seen that? What was it on? Was it on Netflix at some point?
It was on Prime.
When, remember, like Netflix when it first came on streaming and stuff, it had like all these fucking crazy movies. Like they used to have trauma movies and like really terrible shit, redneck zombies. And I would watch like all the garbage and filth on there. And then, of course, Netflix became a thing, and now their filth is like harder to find. That's why like we're recommending Murder Party tonight, because it's like, here's some filth for you, kids. But it used to be like really easy to find.
Yeah, well, I know Prime is like, oh, we're gonna not show that gore and nudity stuff anymore, and then it's like you really have to look. It's there.
Yeah, no, I was flipping through their horror movies thing, and there are tons of horror movies on there. Like, you just have to keep flipping down the category over and over again.
Look at the related ones underneath. Yeah, that's where they are.
If I could tell people, just to warn you, okay, if you get both Prime and Shudder, it is a pain in the ass. Because Shudder goes through Amazon Prime sometimes, but not all the time. I can't even explain it, but you can access Shudder as a channel through Amazon Prime if you pay through Amazon Prime. But if you order Shudder separately through Shudder.com, you cannot access your Shudder account in your Amazon Prime account. Why is this annoying? Because if you use the Amazon Prime app on something like your Xbox or your PlayStation, you also have to get the Shudder app if you paid for Shudder separate. If you didn't pay for it separate and you got it through Amazon Prime, you get less movies. You don't have access to all the movies. If you want to watch Shudder on your Kindle, let's say, because I got a Kindle, get this. You can only watch Shudder on Kindle through Amazon and through the Amazon Prime Video app. There is no Shudder app on Kindle, and you cannot go to Shudder.com and stream. It doesn't allow it on Kindle.
Wow.
And this is true on multiple devices. It's true on like phones and other shit. And it really has me that I'm like, oh no, did I mess up? But I don't even know if I messed up. Like, I mean, like, what do? You have to choose either cancel your Shudder and get it through Amazon Prime to watch Shudder, but you don't get the same selection and it's not as easy to find movies, etc. Or you have 2 separate apps on some devices, but not all. So it's a pain in the ass. That's my PSA. Anyway, tell me another movie you watch.
All right, I got one more to talk about.
Go ahead.
And that is, I want to preempt this because it's a very special movie. And I recommend everybody watches it at least once or buys it right now. It is Scream for Help. Came out in 1984. The director is Michael Winner. You know Michael Winner? He directed that movie called Death Wish and The Sentinel. Oh. Right?
Yeah, good movies.
And Death Wish 2. And then he did Death Wish 3. So the writer of Scream for Help is Tom Holland, who wrote directed Fright Night, and he wrote that movie about the kid he did that rapes the mom, and what was it? The Beast Within. So I'll give you the IMDb synopsis, just because it really doesn't matter. A teenage girl discovers that her stepfather is trying to murder her and her mother, but when she tells people, no one will believe her. Sounds like a terrible... Okay, so basically this movie is like Oscar-worthy. Reason I say that is, like, imagine watching like a made-for-TV after-school special, but with full frontal nudity and sleazy shit in it. People getting killed. It's like kind of like Last House on the Left with a made-for-TV movie.
Mm-hmm.
Where a mom gets...
nudity.
She's in a wheelchair and gets thrown down the stairs. Wheelchair.
Always good for a
It's
laugh.
so funny. No, but like, and she doesn't die, but like, it's so fucking dirty, and it's like, imagine Death Wish 2, but with made for TV, kind of. It just feels wrong. Like, okay, Nick, who besides myself, who would you say is like your closest friend?
I guess my friend, like,
It can be
I
anybody.
got Jill or Steve.
Okay, let's say we'll go Jill, since she's close by.
Yeah.
Jill just died yesterday. You're doing a show with me right now. That's the mentality of the character in this fucking. It's like, oh, my friend just died. Oh well. You know what? I'm gonna go fuck her boyfriend now. This is the main character. I kid you not. She's like the typical nice girl who's friends with this girl who's banging this dude. The girl gets killed by the stepfather guy or whatever. And then she proceeds to hang out with the boyfriend who she was fucking and starts to fuck him like the day after she just got killed.
Amazing.
It's so good. I had to get it. I just had to. And I did. And it's great. There is a commentary from, what is it? Justin Kurzweil from Hysteria Lives, and, I think it's, what's her name? Something by Night. Damn it. Why can't I remember people's names tonight? Really bad. Amanda by Night, I think it's. She's been on their show before. Really, really, dude, Justin Kurzweil is like one of the best commentary people out there. But when it comes to slashers, I pulled the trigger, though. I'm going to mention this, too, so people can join in the fun. I pulled the trigger on Vinegar Syndrome. They are releasing The Incubus and, Blood Harvest, which and this is another movie I just absolutely fucking love for whatever sick fucking stupid reason. But The Incubus, man, is... Dude, that's the one that I told you guys about when we did that other show. That's the one where it's... the succubus is killing people.
Mm-hmm.
And the incubus can see it. And it's got John Cassavetes in it. It's a slasher. And you know who else is in it?
Who?
The Bruce Dickinson.
Bruce Dickinson?
Mm-hmm. With his other band. What was the other band? Not Iron Maiden. The other one. Fuck. See? Names again.
Again.
It's his other band.
Prepared bastards in podcasting.
Yeah, I know. Well, fuck it. You know, I'm not going to sit here with all these notes and preempt bullshit and say, he was in this and I know this because I'm smart. Heart. No. It's, dude, the best line in this movie, and even though I'm going to say it, it's still enjoyable. John Cassavetes says, I swear to God, there's going to be a rape tonight.
God.
It's not. Here's the deal. It sounds like trash, and the movie is trash, but it's so fucking entertaining. There are death scenes galore, and it's got one hell of a great ending. So, The Incubus is definitely for like how you said Predator is like top 100. This one is definitely in top 100 for me. It's when I saw it, I just fell in love with it. I'm like, I want to marry this movie. I've watched it 5 times since, and now Finnegar Syndrome's releasing it, and I'm like, it was like this, not even like 10 minutes after they announced it, I'm like, bye. I don't care how much it is. I don't, bank account, buy right now. I need that in my hands. So that's coming out in October. But what else you got, Nick? Sorry.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I'm done.
It. You're done?
You got anything else?
I do. Yeah, well, I got to put my dog outside before he shits the room up.
Oh, my God.
Dude, it smells like death in here. It's like sweat and dog farts.
Tremendous.
I'm so glad that I have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I really am, because it'll be like, hey, ladies, you want to come over to my place?
Come up in my cold loft with an air conditioner and a computer.
No, it's not cold. It's hot. It's hot in the summer and cold in the winter. The best part about the winter is we could dress like Eskimos and not have intercourse at all.
He's involuntarily celibate.
Yeah.
That's part of your 1960s theme song. I'm working on it. It's work in progress.
Huh. I didn't know. What is this work in progress? I know.
Just end the show. Tell your story and then say goodnight.
Okay. Well, I don't have a story.
Oh, all right. Good night. You can follow me.
You can follow Nick at NewJerseyNick.com.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore.
For a long time.
Not that. You can follow me at JacobK666. You can follow my dog and smell his stinky fucking farts. You can follow our show that you're now listening to, that you stumbled upon, and you're like, boy, are these guys idiots. And that's why people listen.
People tell us they like to listen because, like, we're like their old friends.
Yeah. There are other old friends that they had, but they said they'd be around, but I don't know where they are.
People don't last.
People say they're going to do things, and they don't follow through. People say they're going to do things, and they get stolen. People say they're going to do things, and they get completely sideswiped and stolen. But people say they're going to do things, and they'll do things. Right, Nick? We do
You caught
things.
me mid-swig of water. I'm sorry.
You know what? I'll do one, too. We do things. We're actually doing something.
Well, we're doing this. For now.
For now.
Till we get sick of it.
So what?
Could be any day. Listen, we at least have to go until the end of 2019 I have to do my top 10 of the decade. Top 10, bottom 5. Let's do.
Okay, top 10, bottom 5 of the decade. The whole fucking decade.
That's at the end of 2019.
Strange
so we have
Color of Your Body's Tears going to be on that list.
And I'll put Starry Eyes on mine just because. So, yes.
Did you see the trailer for their other movie?
Who?
The ones that made Strange Color of Your Body's Tears?
No, what's it called?
Oh.
What's it called?
I gotta look it up. Hang on.
You son of a bitch.
Dude, it's what is it? Let the Corpses Lie or something? Hang on.
Oh, yeah, I totally saw that trailer.
Doesn't that look awesome?
Yeah, it looks awesome.
It really does, dude. And it's supposed to be their Let the Corpses Lie. Or Let the Corpses Tan. I'm thinking Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. It's supposed to be their most coherent movie.
Oh, I love coherence in my films.
I think it's cool though. That's why I love Strange Color of Your Body's Tears, because like they got all their shit out from like a mirror and that, and they're like, all right, we fucking, had our orgasms all over the fucking screen that you watched, both male and female. And now they made their movie they wanted to make. That's cool. It's
All
going to
right.
be released by Kino. It's out in theaters now, but it'll be on Blu-ray eventually. I can't
At New Jersey Nick on Twitter.
NewJerseyNick.com.
You can watch our show on. You can't watch our show, but you can listen to it on YouTube,
You could.
on iTunes, on anywhere else.
Copyright.
Copyrights all over the place because we used one frame from A Quiet Place, for God's sake.
I wonder if
Anyway,
I mimic a line from a movie, would they hit us with a copyright? Like if I do it that perfectly.
I don't know.
You want to try?
It's not happened yet.
Do you want to try it?
No, you can try it.
No, you tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it.
Get to the chopper.
I see. That would be over the top, Arnold. I can't.
5-star difficulty.
Yeah. No, it would be. I would be doing like get to the top, and it would be like, oh, okay, it's not funny. No, you name it. Name a scene. It doesn't have to be horror. It could be any movie. Name it. I'll mimic it, and we'll see if we get hit with a copyright.
Okay, say from Scott Pilgrim versus the World, I'm in Lesbians with You.
Nah, see, I can't do that. I'm really bad at Michael.
Oh, man.
Is Michael
I
Cera
don't
still
know.
alive? Is he still doing movies?
Yeah. He was in Arrested Development, which was just on Netflix. Remember how we keep talking about Netflix?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
God damn it. Why did you have to pick Scott Pilgrim of all fucking shit?
I don't know, dude.
You're a dickhead.
It just came to mind, okay? So, anyway.
You know what I just rewatched,
no.
by the way? I should have
What?
mentioned this. And because it is kind of horror related. Natural Born Killers.
Yeah. That's a movie, fun fact, I've never seen all of in a row.
You should watch it. You know why?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of what's going on in the world today. Lots. Think about it. They said back then that it was predicting the future. Tarantino has since embraced it since Johnny Cash told him it was his favorite movie of his. It's a fucking great movie.
So I guess we're done, right?
Do you believe in fate, Nick?
I'm leaving.
That was from Natural Born Killers. See, that was the copyright thing I could do.
Goodbye. I have to go to bed.
The world's coming to an end, Mal. I say angels, Mickey. Alrighty. Good night, Nick.
Good night.
I hate you. No,
Mutual.
No, you don't.
Same.
Seamsies.
Samesies.
Bye.
Oh man, Halloween season is coming up. We
I
better
know.
crank out some episodes. This
Yeah.
one's probably going to air in like October.
We got 2 coming up. We got Hereditary coming tomorrow. But when
Wait,
people listen to this, they're gonna be like,
Hereditary will be out by the time this one comes out.
yeah. So Hereditary is already out. But then this is going to be out like next week, which will be the end of September. And then we're going to be like all October in your faces. And it's going to be October, Jack and Nick October. Then November is going to come around, and you know what's going to happen? Nothing, because we're watching Joe Bob on Shudder. You know what's going to happen in December? Nothing, because we're going to be watching Joe Bob on Shudder.
Yeah, dude, we can't do 2 episodes where we talk about Joe Bob.
No, we can't. But we're just going to be watching it, and we ain't doing a fucking show. So get used to it. No, I'm just kidding. We'll probably do shows, and we have to do our Thanksgiving, and we have to do our turkey show,
And our best of
and we have
the
to do
year
our best
show.
of, and we have to do
Because
our
our
Christmas.
best of the year show is going to be this huge advertisement for the best of the decade show coming next year. Coming next year, I promise you, 2 December episodes. 1 for best of 2019 and 1 for best of the decade. I've been waiting since we started. I aspired to that. We're doing that. So that's it. 2018 first, though. We got to finish this year. We still have to live another year and a half, which is like incredibly difficult. So anyway, that's it. Good night.
Good night. I hate you.
Night.